Okay, we're back. What's up, Echo and Tony? How's things going? Yeah, so I'm basically gonna be working on Ragdolls. I've sort of already started this. I made an issue on the GitHub, just outlining the plan. How broken will Hazel be after the stream? Well, hopefully not at all. Although I will say the joints that I'm working on, which is a Revolut joint, so basically a hinge, currently does not work, even though I think it should, which is fun. So I'm basically going to try and get that working this stream, and if I can get it to work, I'll start working on implementing a D6 joint, which is going to be complicated, to say the least. I think it's the most complex joint you can implement. But yeah, if I just launch Hazel, I can show that Revolut joints do not work. In fact, I don't know that any joints work. Looking bloom. Sable that. So here I basically have two entities. One which has a Revolut joint, and one which doesn't. The idea is, well, actually, so I'm not sure which axis this would rotate around. I'm not even sure, like, does this need a dynamic rigid body, or is just this? I don't know. Let's open up the documentation. Having the Revolut joint. Did I read Ragdolls? Yes, you did, Marka. Having that Revolut joint sounds like Hazel will turn into Fusion 360. Yeah. No, but it's basically required for Ragdolls. Because you want it for the leg, apparently. I don't think the initialization parameters will do anything, because I think that requires us to hook up the physics data with Vulkan. Then you will implement triangle ragdolls and yeet them. Yeah, hopefully. So how do I actually like get this to properly work? Two actors typically used would be a door entrance showing a character. Don't you just love it when Windows decide to make the mouse incredibly laggy? Love that. Doesn't happen that much for me anymore though. Sometimes it does. As I'm also need 3D physics, shall I do that for my quads? Totally. 3D physics for 2D. One of the actors must be movable. The other may be one of those or a static. Okay. So that's correct. But how do I actually like synchronize? Okay, let's do a quick test. If I grab this cube, we duplicate it twice, we give this a fixed joint, and we attach this entity to it. We reshuffle them a bit. And we hit simulate. We get that weirdness. Wait, what? They end up at the exact same location. Okay. What happens if I... Yeah, you see, this doesn't seem to be properly attached. Somehow. Did I drag in the wrong one? Hold that door. Hold this wall. Okay. Yeah. That's not supposed to be happening. Let's take a look at the example here. Remove joint. Just does that. Maybe the joint is drawn in the wrong place, like the actual positions. Update transforms. Nope. So it does update that, like that. Not sure if that's what we want. Because I think the joint should literally just configure, like, it should handle all of that for us. So, do we not create it? Maybe that's what's happening here. Joint. Fixed joint, revolute joint. We grab the connected entity, we do create revolute joint. which creates the revolute joint, but it's not, you know, revolving. Hang on. Maybe it has to do with the limits. Because I wasn't using any limits. So enable that. Disable that for now. That does nothing. Possibly there's an issue with the local frames here. Let's launch this in debug and use the physics visual debugger. Hopefully we can see something there. I'm sorry. What? Why is it constantly zooming? My control key is constantly pressed. Okay. What the hell? This music is going to make me fall asleep. Let's give this a go. Well, I'm not getting any errors, so let's start, hit simulate, stop, and let's have a look. So this is the wall. And it doesn't have a joint. What? So it doesn't have a joint. That's what you're trying to tell me here. Why? Why does that fail? Because it creates it, but it doesn't get attached? Somehow? What's up with that? What? Maybe the blogging level for the physics messages aren't high enough or low enough. Because that's weird. Because fixed joints do work. And it's pretty much identical code. So let's go project settings, physics there, which is set to trace. What if we up it to warn? And actually hit play. No, nothing. What? Okay. Let's actually have a look at the code. Do I have physics installed? Because that would help. Or clone at least. Yes, I do. Because that means I can just put a breakpoint. Hit play. I'm sorry. Wait, what? Oh, I know what's happening. I'm such an idiot. Guess who forgot to make sure that components get copied? Yeah. It's not getting created because it doesn't have it. Alright, let's search for copy. Copy components. And we're doing it here. Should I, what if you just made a macro for the component? Well, the thing is we have to copy it in different ways depending on the context. So here we can just do a copy component because it's copying for the entire scene. But then you have, let's see, like up here where you create a prefab, we need to do it for the entity. And that's a different way of doing it. Now we could have different macros, obviously. I actually quite like the way they did it in Small Hazel, because there was like a PR for that, and I don't know where. Yeah, it's like this kind of thing. But either way, it's whatever. We need to update it in prefab as well. That should be everything. So now it should actually revolve, I think. Unless I made a bunch of mistakes elsewhere, which isn't impossible. What about having a function that copies all if they exist and you just give it the map and targets? Yeah, that's definitely something we could do. I think, like, under the component, well, somewhere, I think 0x left a little message basically saying we need to kind of have a better way of doing this because people just forget. I mean, just having all of them in the same place is good, and then you don't need to add anything to 5 different places. Yeah, definitely. Okay. I mean, this is better. Something happening. Limit invalid, okay. Let's disable the limit for now. I'll have a look at that later on. For now, I just want to see if it actually attaches properly. Hours since Hazel crash 0, pretty much. I'm actually kind of excited because I think maybe we're going to be doing a lot of there again. This fall. Is it fall? That happens at the end of the year. And we're probably gonna have like a thing like that Tim had, where hours since Hazel crashed. Let's disable. See, I don't like the fact that they snap into position. That means we are calculating the relative transforms incorrectly. Because on the first frame they're good, and on the second frame they're not. Because this snaps it into place. So, because the local pose is identical, which they shouldn't be. Which means my calculate local frame doesn't work. And yeah, I don't think it would, because we're calculating it relative to that all the time. We're always calculating it relative to itself. Because we need the parent and the child. We get that. We do some stuff with that. And then we need to do this. Imagine implementing physics without the debugger. That would be hell. It would be the worst possible experience you could ever have. Except for implementing model without debugger. Okay, let's just do this, and now look. We can make that shorter. So, first of all, this makes no sense. So we need to get the parent inverse pose, which we then get the child's inverse pose. We do a joint transform, which I don't know that we have a joint transform. And then it's this basically. Well, this is fun. So we need the parent, the child, and a rotation maybe? Well, that's for the joint though. And he uses the bind pose in world space of the model to get the joint transform. Well, for now, let's assume that that isn't necessary. So, we'll need a parent, child, and that's it, I think. At least for now. And let's for now return a pair of transforms. So I think I need to include, is it tuple or pair? I think it's tuple. If I'm not mistaken. We don't do that. Imagine implementing physics without the physics. Pretty much. So, parent inverse transform. From physics transform, I think it turns. Get global post, which returns transform, yeah. Ugh. Child. Which is the bind pose of the model, which I don't have access to right now, at least. Multiplied by the rotation, which I think in my case it's just going to be an identity matrix. for now. And then we need to return that multiplied by doing transform. So this decomposer does that. What does this 2mat44 do? Where is that even defined? Okay, it does some stuff like that, which I don't know, I think my method will work as well. So, no, this is no longer how we do. We will do auto. Give that a build. What? I literally just replaced this. So we have that there. Where did I do this? Oh, it's set connected entity. Okay. So basically right now all the kind of local frames is basically the inverse transform of the parent and child, which I hope is correct. Obviously we're not taking into account anything with the like joint rotation or translation or anything like that, but it doesn't really matter right now. We can add that later. Also, we're not taking the bind post into account, which is fine for now. We can, once we get to actually support, like dealing with skeletal meshes, we can do that. So in theory, they should now sort of work. Hey! I mean, it's rotating completely around the wrong axis, but, you know, it is rotating. I'm trying to see, like, the bind post definitely doesn't look correct. Or, the local frame doesn't look correct. Does the physics visual debugger have a way of visualizing the joint axis, I guess? Or where the joint is? Joints, all. Thank you very much. Although I can't actually see it. It's not being visualized. Even though I told it to. This has the visualization flag, so perhaps I have to set that on the joint as well in order to get it to show up. We can just do if def make sure debug. We can set it either way. And which function was that? Constraint flag. So it's one of these. Visualization. Set that to true. And why did that close? That's annoying. Let that run and stop. Joints, all. Yeah, I'm not seeing the joint. Even though it's supposed to do it. Yeah, because I don't think that's technically correct. It doesn't look... That doesn't look correct at all. So... Is it because we don't have a bind post? Time store. But the thing is, you shouldn't need a bind post. Multiplied by the rotation, which doesn't exist. Hmm. This is the kind of map that is super annoying to me. Well, that doesn't help. It's the pose of the joint expressed in the frame of the parent link. Okay, so we do need some sort of offset there. Joint pose doesn't seem to... Oh yeah, it is used, but the position is basically the bind pose. Right? Thing is, we may not have a bind pose. So if I were to go into here, we add a anchor position. Translate. take that. Prefix join, I'll just box in an empty